Good afternoon, everyone. This is Amy Geyer with Greenbush. Thank you for attending our webinar this afternoon. We're going to go over what are these things in my Google Drive. We're actually going to be talking about the remittance advices. Sometimes we do refer to them as an RA. I just wanted to let you guys know that you are in listen-only mode. So if you have any questions, there is a question box on the control panel of the GoToWebinar screen. At any time, if you have any questions or if you can't see my screen, just type in the question and I will make sure I get you an answer. Or you can always email me at the end of the webinar if you have any questions and I can go over things with you. My email, just in case you don't have it, it's just Amy, A-M-Y, .Geyer, G-E-I-E-R, at greenbush.org. And you can always call me on the Spectra line. Our phone number is 888-654-8701. So today we're going to be going over the remittance advices that we receive from Kansas Medicaid. So when we bill once a week, every Thursday. Over the weekend, Kansas Medicaid will process your services, so the services being billed. And then on Monday, when we come in, we actually can download the remittance advice to see what services were paid and how much the check will be. And when we do that, when we download it, we will actually upload it to your Greenbush Health account under your Google Drive. And we put those in your remittance advice folders. So today we're just going to go over that. If you've looked at it and it's confusing, we're just going to brush up and go through it. I do want you guys to remember our website. It's just www.greenbush.org. Under Administrators, Special Education Services, and then Medicaid Billing. On our website, there's a lot of information. And for these school districts, basically just want to go over the check summary guide that you receive. Let me pull it up here. It actually ties into the remittance advice that we upload into your Google Drive. So this is a sample of a check summary that so anytime we issue you a check, we attach this, and it explains this is the remittance advice. So it's based on the actual information that we upload to you from the state. So it'll show the RA number here, so you can always tie that in to what this summary is. This check summary is basically a form that summarizes everything on the remittance advice. So this is a lot more friendlier to read than what we actually receive back from the state. So we've created this template for you. But you can tie anything back into this check summary guide with the RA number, and I'll show you where that's at once we look at the remittance advices. It'll show you all the payable information, the dollar amounts, and then also on the second page that we send, it'll show you your yearly totals. You can also find this on the remittance advice, but this check summary will tie into the remittance advice that I'm going to show you. So let me go over here. This is what we receive from Kansas Medicaid every Monday. We download it and then we will upload it to the Greenbush Health Drive for you to review. So this is maybe the first page of the remittance advice. And right now this is just we've blacked out the information because this is one of our districts that we bill for. But we just wanted to give you an example and walk you through it, because once you actually learn how to read them, it is beneficial for your district. So right here in the left corner, provider ID, that is your Kansas Medicaid provider ID that we bill with. The provider NPI number, this will be your national preferred identifier number that we bill for Kansas Medicaid. Taxonomy code, this just specifies whether you're an LEA or an early childhood program. And then right here is just a banner of messages that Kansas Medicaid will communicate. It has their phone number if you have questions about claims on the front page. And then right here in the middle, it shows remittance advice as of, and it'll show this date. So this is the date that the check is actually released from Kansas Medicaid. So on Monday, when we post the remittance advices into the Greenbush Health, you may see a future date on here, and that's because that's actually the date that they issue the check out. Over here is where you find your RA number on the upper right-hand corner. So this will be your RA number that you can reference to that check summary, and I'll show you the page number. So if we go to the second page, it also has the same information at the top, your provider ID, NPI, the taxonomy code, whether it specifies that you're LEA or early childhood. It also has the same date, the same RA number, and it gives you actually columns for each things that you can actually look at here. So let's go through them. Right here is where what's blacked out is the student's name. So if you look down here, we blacked out their last name, but this is the student's first name, and it goes by their last name. So they will be in alphabetical order by their last name. Right here is where you find the Medicaid number. So this is the Medicaid number that we billed for that particular student. This long K number, this number is a claim number that is assigned in our system. So what happens is your providers will enter service logs, and if we have that parent consent and doctor script, and when we hit submit on Thursday, the services export to a system that we call MeduClaim. It's our claiming engine. And our claiming engine will assign these unique ID numbers or claim numbers to that particular student's file. That way we can track them when they come back in from Kansas Medicaid. We can track them with this particular claim number. Right here will be your service date. So it's showing a service date of 1/29/15 to 1/29/15. It'll show your procedure code. So this is actually the services being billed. If you're not familiar with the particular codes, we do have a fee schedule that I can send you that will give you an explanation of each individual code. And again, you can just call me or send me an email. Again, my email is just amy, amy.geier, G-E-I-E-R, @greenbush.org. So just email me if you would like a list of codes and how much we bill for each code. That shows the descriptions here. Over here, this is this long number, this 2015 and so on number. That is the claim number that is assigned from Kansas Medicaid. So anytime that there's a problem with a particular student, maybe their services were denied, we will research the information online for Kansas Medicaid, and we use this number right here. Or we can call them and also just give them this number, and it'll bring up this student's data service. Underneath this, if you're looking right here, there's 3, there's also 4 here. This is the number of units that are billed. So it just depends on the particular service type, the actual procedure code, on how many units we can bill. And then right next to the units is the NPI number. So this is the performing provider. So it may be the same if you're in a standalone district. These two numbers may match up here at the top to the performing provider. The only time they'll be different is if you're with a co-op or interlocal. So the co-op's information will be listed here. It'll have the co-op's NPI number or interlocal's NPI number, and then it'll have the individual district within that interlocal or co-op. It'll have their NPI number here because they're the ones who actually were the rendering provider. So that may be why, if you look and the numbers are different, is because that's the NPI number that belongs to that individual district. Here is the billed amount. So this is actually what is billed to Kansas Medicaid. This is the amount that we were approved, or we have an approval for. This is the amount that Kansas Medicaid sent to us to let us know this is how much you can bill for this particular code. Over here it's showing the allowed amount. So this is the amount that Kansas Medicaid has allowed. Right here in this field, if there's any federal match, basically, if you look at this particular code, this is an early childhood code. So we were told from Kansas Medicaid that we can bill $40. So they allowed $40, but there's a federal match basically the state will tell us what we can bill, but when the federal comes in, they have that percentage taken out. So there's nothing that we can do about that. We bill what Kansas Medicaid allows, and if anything happens with the federal, that's just something that we have no control over. So they do the percentage, and then this is the actual paid amount right here. So for this particular service, it's showing we billed $68.76. The allowed amount was $68.76, and the actual total payment was $68.76. So this will be the actual paid amounts right here on the far right. If you scroll through, it just gives you another explanation, and sometimes these can be quite lengthy. If you have several services billed for a particular week, you could actually have several hundred pages to a remittance advice. But it gives you a breakdown of the student, the service date, what was billed, and what was the actual dollar amount paid. So if you just keep scrolling through here, all of these services are showing paid. Again, these are paid. So let's page to the summary page, since these are actually all showing paid. It'll actually show a summary page of your services being paid right here. So it's showing summary by agency medical paid. It's showing the number of claims that were submitted and paid. So 90 claims were actually paid. Here's the dollar amount that was paid. And if there's any federal match, it'll show right here, so it gets deducted from the total. So this is the actual payment amount for the services. So this is the total paid. The next page will be your denials. So the payment amount showing 0, that means that they were denied from Kansas Medicaid. Again, it shows the student's name, our unique claim number here for MeduClaim or CompuClaim, the service date, the service code, your Medicaid, the kid's Medicaid ID number, the Kansas Medicaid claim number, the units, the performing provider NPI. Here's the total bill. It's showing that nothing was allowed because the services were actually denied. And then here's the denial codes. They do give an explanation of the denial codes. Just to let you know, these are the most common denials that we see, 0091 and 0003. These are the most common denials that we have, that we receive back from Kansas Medicaid. And I'll show you what those denials mean on the next page on the summary. But after it breaks down what's been denied, it'll also break down how many services, so how many claims were denied right here. It's showing 4 claims. So out of this remittance advice, 94 claims were billed, and before it showed 90 claims were paid, and then there's 4 claims denied, so that adds up to your 94. It'll show the total amount that was denied, and then it shows your total amount billed and the total amount allowed, and what was the cutback, so that would be your federal match, and then your denial, and then so this will be your payment amount right here. The next page is the actual explanation of the denial. So the 0003, that means that the beneficiary or the student is ineligible for Medicaid for the data service that we bill. And 0091 is showing that this service is not covered by the Kansas Medical Assistance Program. This is a fancier way for them to let you know that the student is Health Wave 21, because we only get reimbursed for Title 19 kids. So Health Wave 21 services are denied. So the 0003 means that they're strictly just ineligible for Medicaid, and 0091 means that they're a Health Wave 21 student, so their services are not reimbursable. The next page gives another explanation of benefits reason, patient ineligible for this service. So it just gives a little, it just basically, writes the information right here. Claim spans, they were ineligible during that period of time. So it just gives an explanation on this next page. On the final page of the remittance advice, it's showing your summary. So this summary will tie into your check summary guide as well. It shows the number of claims paid, the total dollar amount. Right here is your year-to-date numbers. And Kansas Medicaid, their year-to-date is January through December. So they do not go by an actual school year. So they do not go, from July to June. They go January to December. So some of your numbers may look low if you actually look at your remittance advice. That's just because everything started over for Kansas Medicaid in January. It'll show you year-to-date dollar amount that's been paid, and then it just shows your claim payment for this particular RA right here. And then here's your year-to-date amount right here. And again, this just ties into the check summary that we send to you. So right here, your remittance advice number, you can actually find that right here in the right-hand corner. So if you receive one of those check summary guides and have questions, you can actually reference the remittance advice that they reference right here. And basically, this is just a friendlier version to read. And then also, like I said, the year-to-date totals also populate here in our check summary guide. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, and again, if you have any questions, just give me a call. My number is 888-654-8701. And again, my name is Amy. Or just send me a quick email. My email is just amy.geier, G-E-I-E-R, @greenbush.org. Thank you guys for attending this afternoon. Have a great day.